Und damit mal wieder willkommen zu Lamplight City, meinem Let's Play, diesmal Part 6. Ziemlich sicher 6. Und ich entschuldige mich jetzt schon mal dafür, dass ich komplett erstens keine Ahnung mehr habe und außerdem auch komplett aufgedreht bin.
Oh, Mr. Fordham, you're back.
We haven't got anything else to ask him about right now.
You really have to wonder about someone who chooses to surround themselves with dead things.
Ja, es ist spät. Ich bin irgendwie nicht mehr so ganz auf der Höhe. Aber ich habe sonst nichts Besseres zu tun.
Jean probably wouldn't appreciate.
Ja, würde er wahrscheinlich nicht, das ist richtig. Aber was sollte ich überhaupt machen? Vielleicht sollte ich erstmal nachgucken. Ach ja, der Fall des Liebespärchens. Irgendwie, da war noch was.
She's busy. That's not.
Okay, she's busy. Ja, das ist ein klassischer Fall von... Das irgendwie alles nochmal absuchen.
This must be what was going to be Madame Dupre's.
I don't see any.
What?
No, but
Tut mir leid, das wird jetzt wahrscheinlich wieder ein bisschen geskippe und gescrolle, weil ich mich jetzt erstmal wieder zurechtfinden muss. Schauen muss, ob ich
A nest.
perhaps she had.
Always.
Hinweis übersehen habe, wie eigentlich immer. Oh, und müde bin ich auch, hatte ich das gesagt? Ja, ja.
I found this upstairs in Madame Dupre's bedroom. Do you recognize it?
Oh, please take that away, Mr. Fordham. Why would you show it to me?
I'm sorry. I didn't think it would upset you.
Miles. Maybe someday you'll learn how to read basic human emotions.
Thank you, Amelie. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Now, please, let me get back to work.
Das war eine großartige Spur. Ich bin richtig begeistert. Ich habe so viel Neues gelernt. Gibt es eigentlich Leute, die sich bei diesem Spiel schlau anstellen? Wahrscheinlich. Wie immer. Habe ich erwähnt, dass ich müde bin?
She's.
Wieso ist... hilfreich. Ja. So viel zu meinen neuen Erkenntnissen. Wieso bin ich so unfassbar scheiße darin, Dinge zu finden? Okay, wisst ihr was? Ich habe genug von der ganzen Rumsucherei. Ich versuche ihr jetzt Juliette Montgomery als meine Verdächtigte zu verkaufen. Klingt sinnvoll.
It'll be bittersweet news for Mr. Martin, I think. And of course, I'll dip into the department's Good Samaritan fund to get you proper compensation for your work. For now, go home to your wife. I'm sure I'll have something else for you to look into fairly soon.
Juliet Montgomery?
Yes, may I help you with something?
You're under arrest for the attempted murder of Madame
Oh je,
Laura
ich hoffe,
Dupre.
sie ist nicht
What?
unschuldig.
But how can that be?
Come with me, Miss Montgomery. We'll need to question you at the station.
Addie, I'm home. Addie?
She must still be out at her hairdressing appointment. I'm glad we're alone because I wanted to talk to you about something.
Yes, Bill, I know. I told you I'm doing my best to try and find the flower shop burglar.
No, for once, this isn't about him. This is about you.
Me? What are you on about?
You can play dumb and deflect all you like with everyone else around you, but it won't work with me. I know exactly what you're thinking, and you know exactly what I'm gonna say.
You want to talk about how we did on this case?
Yes, that's exactly right. Have you already forgotten the old days, Miles? Before I died, we were solving cases like nobody's business. You were one of the best detectives on the force. But ever since you started taking that soporific, your mind hasn't been as sharp as before.
Ja gut,
If
mein...
you're serious about
Das
taking on
ist
more
meine
complex
Schuld.
cases, you need to listen to Adelaide and stop taking it. It's already had a negative effect on your performance.
What are you talking about? We discovered it was Juliet who was to blame.
Yes, but if you were working at your full abilities, you'd have come to that conclusion much sooner.
If I stop taking it, you won't let me sleep through the night. Nothing will change.
Well, things would change if you found you-know-who.
I thought you said we weren't going to talk about that right now.
Yeah, well, I say a lot of things.
An understatement if ever there was one. Can't you just keep quiet without me having to take something?
Afraid not, old friend. That's just not who I am or how this works.
If you keep me up all night, I'll go crazy. Things have been hard enough as it is. And if, God forbid, Adelaide were ever to find out about...
Hello, Miles. Is there someone else here? I thought I heard you talking just now.
Fantastic. The jig is up. And here I thought we were doing so well, too.
Wie belüge ich sie jetzt am schlausten?
No, I was just going over the case. Thinking aloud, you see.
Ah, of course.
Glaubwürdig.
How was your appointment?
Mrs. Lefebvre was her usual bossy and overly picky self, but she gave me a very generous tip.
That's good.
So I stopped by the shop on the way home and bought a new deck of cards.
Excellent. Shall we have a few rounds of écarté? I believe you demanded a rematch last time we played.
Yes, that would be nice.
Well, you certainly managed to dodge that bullet. I only wish I could say the same.
Sie hat es hundertprozentig gerochen, aber schauen wir mal, wie sich das entwickelt. Oh, die Story.
And it says here they still don't know what caused that explosion.
I guarantee you it was sabotage. Those Redites have been causing a lot of trouble lately.
Is that the group of anti-steam tech radicals?
Very same.
Why Redites, though?
They're named after some fellow named Jonathan Red. Apparently the one who began the whole anti-steam movement. It's really a rather stupid name, if you ask me. And uncreative, to boot.
Well, what would you call them then?
Anti-Dampfkraft. Okay, also die heutigen Anti-Atomkraftgegner vor allen Dingen.
Something more evocative, like the Boom Boom Boys.
Definitely gets to the point, I'll give you that. Perhaps
Vielen
you'd
Dank.
best stick with the detecting, dearest. Your nomenclature needs a bit of work.
Oh, das
Well, I
trifft
think
mich
it's about
tief.
time I get ready for bed.
All right, Miles, if you must.
Sieht aus, als würde ich nicht ins Bett gehen.
Ah, that's nice.
Ja, da muss ich irgendwas...
Who could that be at this time of night?
Good question. But Adelaide can handle it for now. I need to take my medicine.
You certainly have your priorities in order. Go on then. Get that bottle of rat piss out of your nightstand and let's get this over with.
Nein, ich will den nicht da rausholen.
Ugh, tastes like the devil's sweat.
You could just stop taking it, you know.
Bill, now is not the time to...
Miles, could you come back out here, please?
Be right there, dearest.
Ich habe ein ganz dummes Gefühl bei der Sache.
Who was that at the door?
A late night courier. You've got a message from Upton.
Die Zeit. For them, this case makes the last one look simple. Meet me at the voran as soon as possible. It is urgent.
Seems this case is rather urgent. She wants me to meet her as soon as possible.
But didn't you just take your soporific? Are you going to be all right to go?
It won't kick in for another hour or so. Should be plenty of time.
All right, I'm going to bed then. Good luck, dear.
Good night, Addie.
Wow, gehen wir mal mit einem Schlafmittel in den Café. Kein Problem. Kann ja nichts passieren. Oh.
Hello, Upton.
I'm glad you came, Fordham. Sorry for disturbing you this
Ja,
late.
es ist schon sehr spät. Ich bin ganz beleidigt.
I'm curious to know what's so important that it couldn't wait until morning.
An infant kidnapping in Lyon. The report came in tonight, just before my shift ended.
Das heißt
The
Lyon.
family wants to keep the investigation very low-key. They're afraid if word gets out, they'll have all sorts of ne'er-do-wells making false ransom claims. That's why I suggested they let you investigate first.
Ja, weil
Head
ich auch so
over to
diskret bin.
45 Belcourt Street. That's the home of Malcolm and Miriam Harris, the parents of the kidnapped boy.
Harris? As in Harris Construction Company?
The very same. Owned by Malcolm's father, no less. Now you see why they wanted to keep this out of the public eye.
Indeed. If they manage to get a new transatlantic airship off the ground, it'll be an aura mine. I can see why they'd make an easy target. Okay, I'm on it. I'll try and find him as soon as I possibly can.
Was soll ich auch sonst
Good
sagen?
luck on your investigation. Come see me again once you've figured things out. Or if you just need to talk. I'll be here all day tomorrow as well. So feel free to stop by.
Kein Problem. Soweit so simpel.
Mr. Miles Fordham is here to see you,
Oh
sir.
Gott, oh Gott.
Very good, Mr. Havelock. Send him up.
Der
Yes, sir.
Butler. Oder was ist das? Mr. Miles Fordham is
Good evening
here
to
to
you, sir.
see you.
Good evening, Mr. Fordham. I'm Malcolm Harris.
I'm terribly sorry to hear about what's happened, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham. You were very highly recommended by Miss Upton. She
ich
said
kenne
you'd be
nicht.
able to solve this
Das ist
faster
Einbildung.
and more discreetly than the police. I admit it's a
faster?
rather
Ja.
unorthodox
Genau.
approach, but we're desperate.
I understand. I'll do all I can to find the kidnapper and bring your son back unharmed.
If you'd like to examine the nursery, it's just through that door to the left. I'll ask you to please try and keep quiet as I just sent my wife to bed. Her nerves are rather shot, you see.
Yes, of course.
Oh, die Musik. Neue Musik.
I know the hand and waistcoat pose is supposed to look stately, but to me it always looks like the person is scratching themselves.
Da spricht er mir aus der Seele, der Junge.
The Harris family certainly has a nice view from which to look down upon the world. I wonder if they use the balcony to give speeches to the gardeners.
French doors. Sehr französisch ist alles.
It's nice to see that tea is still served here even in times of tragedy. she looks like she's up to something.
She? Oh, das ist kein Kind? Verdammt.
I wouldn't get too close, Miles. That vase is probably worth more than your entire building.
Oops.
I'm sure the only location the Harrises care about is wherever they are at any given moment.
Hä? Okay. Ja, gut. 2 Räume. Ein verschwundenes Kind. Kinderzimmer.
Bear's
Bilder.
picnic. Something about a group of giant human-like bears eating together in the woods is slightly unsettling.
Das sind Kinderbücher.
My friend Bunny. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want a giant imaginary rabbit for a friend. Look at that. The kid has a toy chest. My sister and I used to have to keep our toys buried in the backyard. Of course, that is because the only toys we had were dead rats.
Okay. Sonst noch Hobbys? Ja gut, dazu komme ich gleich.
Some sort of fuzzy animal wearing a waistcoat. Charming. A steam-powered bottle warmer. Certainly beats having to do it in the fireplace. Or in the case of my parents, over a barrel fire.
Er ist wirklich arm aufgewachsen, der Arme. Aha.
That's odd. Why is there a loose button in the crib? Now, I'm no expert on children, but it seems like it would be dangerous to have around an infant. Ah.
Den sack ich doch ein.
Nice mobile. Custom made, too. There'll be no
Mobile.
mistaking what family this child comes from. Yeah,
Mobile.
the kidnapper left the child's blanket behind. There doesn't appear to be any trace of the silver spoon, though.
Was für ein Silver Spoon? Mobile.
Oh dear.
Ah, wonderful. The soporific has started working. Well done, Fordham. Now how are you supposed to... What's the word I'm looking for?
Instigate, interrogate. I just had it on the tip of my tongue.
Perhaps it's time to call it a night.
I don't know what to say to that.
Darf ich jetzt in dem Zustand gehen?
Well, Mr. Harris, I believe I've done all I can for right now.
Did you find anything?
Yes, I believe I have some leads I can pursue. But the most important thing to do in cases like this is wait to hear from the kidnappers. I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue my investigation and ask you and your wife some questions once you've had time to calm down a bit.
Und
In the
ich.
meantime, I suggest you stay here and get some sleep. We'll all need it.
Das ist übrigens nicht mein Effekt. Nur, dass das klar ist. Ah, guten Morgen, Schlafmütze.
Miles, wake up. It's nearly noon.
Ah, so it is.
Why didn't you come to bed when you got home last night?
It was late. I didn't want to disturb you.
So what was so urgent about the case Upton sent you?
I'm trying to track a kidnapped child.
Oh my goodness. That's awful.
Yes, the pressure's on, but I think I should be able to crack it.
Assuming you actually managed to get anything done at the Harris Manor today.
Well, let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Also, we've got company. Mrs. Delacroix is having her hair done here today, so please make yourself presentable.
You mean I'm not all ready?
At least do something about your hair. I do have a reputation to maintain after all.
What's wrong with my hair?
Do you really want me to answer that? We'll be here all day.
Muss ich mir jetzt wirklich die Haare machen?
It's admirable. Just Yes, the bottle is still in there.
Ich wollte nur noch mal sicher gehen.
And then he said, "Oh, hello there. I don't believe we've met."
Mrs. Delacroix, this is my husband, Miles. Miles, this is Mrs. Delacroix.
Pleasure to meet you, madam.
Likewise, young man. Pleasure.
Oh, was ist denn mit der falsch?
Is everything all right, Mrs. Delacroix?
Yes, everything's fine. It's just that... Well, you weren't what I was expecting, is all.
Keep your head, Miles. She may be a close-minded idiot, but she's just an old lady.
What were you expecting exactly?
Well...
Now then, Mrs. Delacroix, what was it that you were telling me about Mr. Delacroix and his dogs?
Oh, yes. So, Harold came in and said...
Impressive. She got off pretty easy. I was expecting a repeat of the Parsons incident. You should give Adelaide a kiss on the way out, though, just to make the old bat feel extra uncomfortable.
Addie?
Not right now, Miles. I'm busy. We can talk once I finish with Mrs. Delacroix.
She can get as painted up and coiffed as she likes. It's not gonna fix the ugliness inside.
Weise Worte, weise Worte. Ich hoffe.
Goodbye, dearest.
I look forward to your return, my love.
Der Schnuller. Oh.
Remind me, Miles, how was finding some rich people's kidnapped baby going to help us track down the flower shop burglar?
Lüge. Ja, aber jetzt noch
It's
das.
possible we might find a lead to the burglar during the course of this investigation.
Also nicht
Really, Miles?
wirklich,
You really
nein,
believe
ich
that?
glaube das nicht wirklich,
Anything's
aber...
possible, Bill. You remember how many times we encountered seemingly trivial matters which turned out to be important later on?
Well, if you plan on solving this case, you'll need your full wits about you.
I do have my full wits about me. I'm perfectly capable of doing this.
Yes, and I'm perfectly capable of being alive. I just choose to be this way because it saves on the laundry expenses. You can't deny it. You need to stop taking the soporific, Miles. Adelaide has been trying to get you to stop for months, and Upton already suspects something is amiss. Not to mention your little episode last night. Trust me, no one is going to want to hire the dullard detective.
Clever. Did you come up with that one all by yourself?
What are you going to do when the cases stop coming in? How long before you get put away in Riverview?
If I do get locked away, it'll be your fault.
Which is exactly why you need to get back to your normal routine so you can find the burglar.
All right, fine. I'll stop. But you know that doesn't guarantee we'll find the burglar any sooner.
Yeah, I'm aware, but it increases the odds significantly.
Wo recht
Well,
hat.
I'm glad that's settled then. I knew you'd see things my way eventually.
It's not as though you gave me much of a choice.
In time, you'll thank me. Probably not before the withdrawal hits, though.
Don't make me change my mind on this, Bill.
Ja, der Entzug wird hart. Oh, da ist die Mutti.
Mr. Fordham, you're back. Allow me to introduce my wife, Miriam.
Hello.
A pleasure, Mrs. Harris. I wish we could have met under better circumstances, but I assure you I'm doing all I can to find your son.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham.
Mr. Harris, has there been any communication from the kidnapper?
None at all.
Well, I'll have another look around, if you don't mind.
Miles, didn't you notice something a bit strange about the Harrises?
Quite a few things, actually. What are you referring to?
His son was just kidnapped, yet they're each on their own side of the sitting room. Not comforting each other, not crying together. Nothing.
They're stuck-up rich people. Not exactly the type to show emotion.
Miles, you know I'm the most cynical person there is when it comes to their type. But this isn't normal behavior, even for snobs. This goes deeper than saving face. There's something going on between them. I think you should find out what.
Kein Problem. Leuten rumbohren ist doch meine Spezialität.
Interesting. This fabric looks as though it came from a garment of some kind.
Huh. There's a small emblem sewn onto the side of this piece of fabric. It just says SS.
Somebody's initials, maybe?
Höchstwahrscheinlich.
Be careful not to cut yourself, Miles. I don't think the Harris family has ever seen blood that isn't blue.
Stilvoller Witz.
Probably won't be another year or so before the child gets any practical use out of those blocks beyond putting them in his mouth. Look, you can see the balcony extends all the way around the side of the manor.
That would make it rather easy for someone to access this window from the outside.
No evidence of what was used to smash the glass, though.
Der Stuhl vielleicht?
It looks rather flimsy. Let's not try sitting on it.
Ich würde den Stuhl nehmen, glaube ich.
Look, no evidence. Be careful not to...
Tja. Ja, ich weiß, ich mache hilfreiche Bemerkungen. Ist mir schon klar.
Doesn't look very comfortable. Whoever sits here must end up with a sore backside after a while. Nice view of the garden from up here. Yeah, the kidnapper left the child's...
Dieses Monstrum von Katzenplüschtier.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
Quetschen wir ihn mal aus.
Yes, of course.
Tell me everything you can about the kidnapping.
I don't know much. I was out last night while it happened.
Where had you been previously?
I was out with friends.
Lüge.
My wife can verify the time I arrived home.
Wait a minute. I know this attitude all too well. This man is hiding something. Most likely from his wife.
Yep.
I doubt his voice is from beyond the grave, so the question is, what's his secret?
I found this bit of torn fabric by the broken window. Do you know anything about it?
Looks like it came from a piece of clothing. Possibly a jacket.
Did the initials SS mean anything to you?
Maybe? I can't really say. You'll have to excuse me, Mr. Fordham. I've got quite a lot on my mind right now.
Ja.
If I can think of anything, I'll be sure to let you know.
Nein? Hallo?
Tell me about your son.
Charles is a good boy. Very quiet. Miriam had wanted a child.
Der
almost
lügt doch,
from the
wenn er den
moment
Mund
we married.
aufmacht.
You know how women are when they have their hearts set on something. I saw no need to rush, but...
Nice to know you're not the only one. Hey, Miles.
The first 2 times Miriam was with child, she suffered some unfortunate accidents. She was devastated, as you can imagine. So when Charles finally came along, he turned out to be quite a blessing. I can't imagine what sort of depraved madman would take him from us like this. You must find him, Mr. Fordham.
So verhält sich doch kein
I
Vater.
intend to, Mr. Harris. Tell me about yourself.
There isn't much to tell, really. My life has been fairly well publicized in the newspapers.
Let's pretend for a moment that I skip over the society pages.
Well, I'm an investor. My father Clyde runs Harris Construction Company, which I will someday inherit. Any other details about me are fairly trivial nonsense, I think.
Aha. Ja, toll.
I found this button in your son's crib. Does it look familiar at all?
No, not at all. Do you think the kidnapper might have left it behind?
It's a distinct possibility.
Das Kind hat
Those are all the questions I had for now.
einen Knopf gebastelt aus Spucke. Was zur Hölle?
I have some questions for you if you're up to answering them, Mrs. Harris.
I'll try my best, Mr. Fordham.
Die Frau tut mir ein bisschen leid.
Tell me what you know about your son's kidnapping.
Oh, my poor baby.
Mrs. Harris, I know this is difficult, but I need as much information as you can give me so I can bring your son back.
Yes, you're right. I have to stay strong. For Charles, it happened sometime between 6 and 8 last night. I think both my husband and I had gone out. Charles was in the care of his nanny, Mrs. Davis. I arrived home first, around 8:30, and that's when I found the scene in the nursery, as it was.
And what was it you found?
Mrs. Davis, unconscious in her chair, the broken window, and Charles missing from his crib. Malcolm arrived home shortly afterwards, around 9. and then immediately sent our butler, Mr. Havelock, to notify the police. We stayed up waiting for any contact from the kidnappers, but there was nothing.
Your husband mentioned he was out with friends last night. Where were you?
Oh, I was visiting with some of my friends.
Die Lügen
We
doch alle wie
gathered at
gedruckt.
one of their homes for a concert.
It seems hiding something from your spouse is an activity both Harrises partake in.
Danke, Miles. Absolut.
What can you tell me about Mrs. Davis?
Well, she's worked for us since Charles was born, a little over 6 months ago.
How did you come to employ her?
Malcolm's mother had a friend whose daughter she used to care for. She came highly recommended. We've never had any problems with her. She's always been a dream.
Where is she now?
In her room, I would guess. With Charles missing, there's little for her to do.
Where might I find her room?
There's a small building just around the back of the manor. Hers is the 4th door from the left.
Can you think of any reason why your son would be a target for kidnapping?
It could be that someone wants our money, or some lunatic who's angry about the new airship. My husband's an investor, and my father-in-law owns the company building it, you see. I just don't know, Mr. Fordham. Frankly, the fact that something like this could even happen is just terrifying.
I found this bit of torn fabric by the broken window. Do you know anything about it?
No, I've never seen it before. Do you think it was left by the kidnapper?
Perhaps. Did the initials SS mean anything to you?
No, I can't think of anyone or anything I know with those initials.
Die klingt auf jeden Fall ehrlicher als ihr
Tell me
Mann.
about your son.
Charles is our only child. He's such a good boy. Never makes a fuss. Always very sweet. Oh, Charles, you must be so frightened out there
Ja,
without your
ja, ist
mother.
okay. Sie hat sich doch eh nie um das Kind gekümmert.
You have to bring him home.
Diese Schmierenkomödie, ey.
I'll do my best. Tell me a bit about yourself, Mrs. Harris.
Mr. Fordham, my son has been kidnapped and is out
Ist ja ein
there
Bonbon
alone,
aus, aber auch.
terrified and confused. What could I possibly tell you that would make any difference to you finding him?
I suppose you're right, Mrs. Harris. My apologies if I upset you.
Erzähl doch einfach.
I found this button in your son's crib. Does it look familiar at all?
No, I don't recognize it. It looks like it came from some cheap coat. Is that what the ruffian who took my baby was wearing?
That's what I'm trying to determine. That's all for now, Mrs. Harris.
Very well.
Wenn ich jetzt versuche anzusprechen, kommt er wieder in. Du hast hier gerade nichts zu sagen. Okay, aber bevor ich diesen Raum untersuche, glaube ich, ist es mal wieder gut für heute. The fuck? Warum verschiedene Autosaves? Hallo? Ich weiß, ich bin paranoid. So. Dann war's das für heute. Ich bedanke mich fürs Zusehen und bis zum nächsten Mal.